Hey everyone, we're going to get started in just a few minutes here if you can sit tight. Hey everyone, we're going to wait another minute or two just to let everybody join. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. So first off, this is Paul Martin. I lead business development here for Schoology, and I will be your MC of sorts for today's webinar. I'd like to just first say thank you to everybody for attending today's special presentation on interoperability and Schoology's partner ecosystem. We're excited to share some more background on Schoology's own platform strategy and to give some of our top partners a chance to walk you through their integrated products. So without further ado, I'm going to pass things over to our first presenter today, Schoology's own VP of Product, Joel Haynes. Joel, take it away.
Well, I'm excited to share with all of you today a little bit about what drives the foundation, our thinking around the Schoology LMS and the suite of products we have and the work we do with all of our great partners. But really what I want to do is spend a little bit of time talking about the foundation of our work and then how that extends out and supports the great opportunities that we have all together. But probably it makes sense first for me to share a little bit about myself. My name is Joel Haynes. I'm our VP of Product here at Schoology. Been with the company about a year and a half, and I lead both our product management and product design teams, really working to listen to the market, to our partners, to our customers and users, and understand best how to impact teaching and learning in the classroom. What you're going to hear today is a culmination of a lot of that research and listening that we've done over time. We're going to capture it as a teaching and learning ecosystem. We use ecosystem a lot in various places. It describes how we think about the holistic experience of teaching and learning. This is what a teacher starts to wrap their head around in terms of what they teach and how they're going to share it with their students, and the journey that a student takes when they're presented with an idea or a concept and need to work through the struggle or the challenge of learning these new ideas and then demonstrating what they know and are able to do. Now, the ecosystem is about what happens in the classroom and in those areas of the school that surround the classroom. But we at Schoology and all of our great partners providing technology solutions support this ecosystem. We understand what it does, and we understand how to deliver solutions that solve the problems that students and teachers have on that journey. Setting the foundation and understanding the ecosystem requires what may be a little bit of an obvious kind of set of ideas that drive teaching and learning. They're these. What we've seen over the years is that the presentation, the delivery of content and solutions into the classroom has moved from a centralized to a distributed model. You can see this both in the actual work that happens in classrooms. For example, the rise of PLCs and collaborative work that generate the curriculum and the content. It could be open education resources. The idea that what happens in a classroom is not isolated, it's part of a larger, as we said earlier, ecosystem. In our solution as well, and in the work that we do with our partners, we see the same thing happening. This move from a centralized environment to a distributed one, that systems are no longer housed within the district or just within the classroom. They're participant in a larger environment of solutions that solve problems across the teaching and learning space. We also see this trend in schools to move from all-in-one to best-in-class solutions. An all-in-one solution is one where I may make a choice, a decision to purchase a product from a company, and then I just stay with that particular company and buy all of their products. I just want it all wrapped in one bundle. But the problems and the challenges that we face in classrooms are pretty massive. They're large scale. And what we want to do is be able to select the best solutions that meet the needs we have in our environment. So this move from all-in-one to best-in-class suggests that the solutions we bring in, the technologies that we employ in the classroom, have to be able to integrate together and support the variety of ways a school district, a school, are going to compose or build that system of support. Then finally, another foundational element is this move from compliance to outcomes. Compliance is what drove the introduction of education technology many years ago. The idea that we want to capture information and data to show that we are actually doing what we say we're doing. And that's fine, that's still an important benchmark for solutions that are brought into schools. And we see that within our student information systems and ERP systems, finance, and all the reporting systems that we have. But increasingly over the last decade, there's been this major shift to an outcomes-based focus. Great, a lot of systems can provide me with the compliance and the regulatory compliance that I need. But what I want to know is how well are they serving my students? Are they making a difference in improving outcomes? So these three tenets form the foundation of this teaching and learning ecosystem. The idea that we're moving to distributed systems where schools and classrooms can choose best in class, the systems that meet their needs to solve for better student outcomes. So again, I said, and maybe this is pretty obvious, but it's important that we understand it in that sense, because as we talk about the way Schoology works within that larger ecosystem of solutions and partner products, this is what drives us. This is what we're contemplating. Now, one other kind of foundational element. If we're talking about the teaching and learning ecosystem, then we have to dive a bit deeper into what actually happens. What is how do the things unfold, the work that happens in the classroom? So we think about it in this plan, engage, monitor, and act cycle. In our planning stage, we're working together to figure out what it is we're going to deliver to students and what we want them to know. So in that planning stage, we are working through kind of an organic process where we're working with our collaborative team. Maybe it's a PLC that I mentioned earlier, or it's a distributed team across different subjects within a grade level, for example, but we're working to solve for this. And we want solutions. It doesn't have to be technology ones. We want ways of organizing that information so that we can go into the classroom with confidence. Then we engage students in that teaching and learning cycle. We ask questions. How do we empower students? How do we engage them? How do we keep them involved in their own education? This is about the methodologies we use in the classroom, our pedagogy that helps drive what we teach and then the delivery of that to students. So we engage them in an active learning environment. We want to monitor next. Monitor is really about us developing an understanding of how our students are doing. We understand that from our formative assessments. What can we know now that we can immediately act on to support better student outcomes? And our summative assessments that tell us how our overall program is working, the efficacy of the different initiatives we put in place. And after that, we take those and we adjust, we adapt and refine. We listen to what students need, and we respond to that. And all of that then informs a planning cycle. So as we think about branching out, we build on this core value of what Schoology delivers into schools and classrooms. And we think about how we bring it all together in this kind of focus on interoperability and work with partners. We look through this particular lens. We ask questions. How does this help schools? How does this help teachers plan effectively, engage their students in learning, monitor their progress, and adapt and adjust so that the whole process can be better? So if we have that as our foundation, if we understand this shift in the landscape of the last decade or two, and what's actually happening in our classroom, we can start to connect the dots. So while at Schoology, we expect to deliver high quality solutions, we're excited to be the LMS that you choose to employ in your classrooms. We think about those foundations. How do we address plan, engage, monitor, and act? How do we address the fact that you're moving to best-in-class systems that have to interoperate? We commit to that interoperability. We want to talk a little bit about what that commitment looks like. First, IMS Global is a major sponsor of interoperability work across K-12. With IMS Global, what we have is an organization that is served by educators that contribute to this body of knowledge and a setting of standards about how systems should talk to each other. Gone are the days where we can work in silos, where isolated systems that try to be all-in-one systems can close the doors and say, we can be everything you need. Instead, what we're doing is expanding that ecosystem, and these interoperability standards are particularly critical. Now, let me give a specific example of our commitment and what IMS Global does. So we're committed to one roster. Now, the one roster interoperability standard describes how a student information system can send roster data. So think students and teachers and class enrollments from their system into others like Schoology, like the LMS. You want that rostering data to be aligned between the two systems. In addition, it sends data back. It describes how grades go from, say, the LMS back into the student information system, which serves as the system of record. We're committed to this, and we've developed solutions that help us integrate using one roster with a variety of student information systems. We keep investing, we keep expanding the collection of solutions that are there, and we're excited to be able to commit to that. But it's not just one roster, it's the entire IMS Global suite of standards. Now, we use this for content. So you're going to hear more about our commitment to interoperability with specific partners. Now, they're building tools, they're leveraging LTI or learning tools interoperability. Now, to be able to make that a seamless or an interoperable experience within Schoology, we have to continue to invest in advancing that. We hear from schools every day about how those integrations can be even better, and we bring that back to an organization like IMS Global, and we work with our partners to help continue to advance and develop that. So whether it's LTI or QTI for how your questions and tests move between solutions, a case, how competencies and standards are exchanged between solutions, or any of a number of other standards, this is a commitment that we make so that we can support this best-in-class distributed environment that we know is so prevalent in all of our schools. So this is great. So we have a foundation that describes what our environment is, and now we have a commitment to interoperability to enable that foundation. We want to just take a moment to talk about, well, what then does enabling success look like? How do we build a platform that then supports all of this effectively? What is our approach outside or alongside of our interoperability standards to enable success? Well, it's pretty straightforward. We see the LMS as the center of that teaching and learning ecosystem. We see it as the platform through which we enable great solutions, whether those are built by Schoology or enabled through our great partners. We see teaching and learning, the delivery of assessment, understanding data and analytics and how that can improve student outcomes, providing high quality content aligned to the curriculum that you use in your schools, and then how a larger community engages in that. We see Schoology sitting at the center of that entire ecosystem, providing the kinds of solutions that are ultimately going to matter and make a difference. So as you hear about what the work we're doing at Schoology to develop the core platform, or you hear about the work we're doing to work with our partners, delivering solutions in these spaces, you're going to continue to see this investment because we believe this is how we're going to move the needle with your help and helping you to do that. Now, finally, with that, I keep mentioning partners, and the partnerships matter because they give you confidence that we are working in that interoperable fashion to enable higher quality delivery of value, things that matter to the classroom. Now, the first and most important thing to know is we have a set of partners. We call them standard partners, and this is open to everyone. We want companies to feel comfortable and enabled working with us so that as you encounter new solutions, innovative tools, whether we have heard about them or not, we have a way for them to be enabled through Schoology to deliver their content, their tooling, or whatever it is in a way that supports your work in your schools. But we also then have this idea of a certified partner, and a certified partner works even more closely with us. When you look to Schoology and you learn about certified partners, what you're hearing about is that the company and us, we've made a commitment together to provide higher quality support, more interoperable solutions. This is just an enhanced commitment to making sure that everything works together in a way that's effective for you and your students. All of this creates this ecosystem. We've talked about this, right? An innovative digital learning platform. We want to be interoperable, work with these other systems, and deliver the solutions that you need to be successful. We have quality data that flows between systems and is surfaced in a way that gives you actionability, the ability to engage, monitor, and adapt, and act on that information. We can provide then personalized instruction, personalized learning opportunities for students because we work within a larger set of solutions in an ecosystem that understands how to empower and attune data and information to the individual student needs and do it in a way that relieves the burden off the teacher as much as possible. And all of this enables impactful learning communities, which drives success, which really helps support what we're all in this work to do. So really the bottom line here is we are invested in building out the highest quality, most impactful teaching and learning platform that sits within an ecosystem of products and solutions that meet the needs of your individual schools and classrooms and school districts. And that's why we're so excited to be delivering what we deliver and to work with all of the great partners we have. So thank you very much. I hope this was helpful and gives you a little bit of insight into what we do here at Schoology.
All right, thanks for your insight into our platform strategy, Joel. I think that's really helpful perspective as we now transition into the second piece of this webinar, where we'll showcase 7 of our top integrated partners and the interoperability that they support with Schoology. So just a quick reminder, if you have any questions, please submit them via chat in the GoToMeeting. You should see a chat prompt in the interface. It should be really simple. I believe it'll be on the bottom right side, depending on whether you're using the app or the web interface. So without further ado, let's set things up for our first partner, and I'll pass things over to the team from Respondus.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. My name is Ari Sours. I'm one of the senior product specialists at Respondus, which means I know our applications very well. And I work with institutions all over the world to help get up and running with our applications, best practices and training and things like that. So I'm going to do a very brief overview of actually 2 applications that we offer and then integrate with Schoology. Sharing my screen. They are called Lockdown Browser and StudyMate Campus. Both integrate with Schoology, and we actually bundle them together for K-12 institutions. So they is one price and you get them both. I'm really going to spend most of our time today on the first application on Lockdown Browser and then do a brief overview of what StudyMate Campus is. But both integrate seamlessly. They look like tools inside your Schoology course. It makes it really easy to use. They complement and extend the features in Schoology, so we'll get into what they are in a moment, but as a quick example, Lockdown Browser helps with assessments, with giving tests and quizzes and preventing students from cheating when they're taking those tests and quizzes. And also, we find that these applications will encourage greater use of Schoology by teachers and students because it will help to enhance the assessment experience. And with StudyMate Campus, it also helps to engage students with the content that's in your courses. So we'll show you what that all looks like. So just a quick overview of what Lockdown Browser is. It's actually a browser. Its job is to lock down the test environment. So students use Lockdown Browser instead of a regular browser like Chrome or Safari to take a test. But what Lockdown Browser does is it prevents cheating during those tests and quizzes. So it makes sure students can't do anything else during that test. They can't get distracted, they can't copy questions, print out copies of the test, and so on. And the second application that integrates seamlessly with Schoology is called StudyMate Campus, which allows instructors and students to create and share learning activities, flashcards, games, self-assessments. So it's designed for both instructors and students to use. And again, I'll do a really quick overview of what that is toward the end, but we'll spend most of our time on Lockdown Browser. So again, Lockdown Browser is a custom browser that prevents cheating. It also works with all the different assessment types in Schoology, the test quiz tools, the new assessment tool, and even Schoology AMP. And when using Lockdown Browser, there are hundreds of exploits that Lockdown Browser prevents. It's not a plugin, it's not a setting, it's actually a full application, so it's incredibly powerful. But a couple highlights of what Lockdown Browser will stop students from doing. They can't print a test, they can't capture the content on the screen by sharing test questions with other students. They can't leave the test and go to other websites or other parts of the Schoology course where they might be looking at content. If it's supposed to be a closed book test, you don't want them doing that. And they can't access any other applications. So if they had things running on the device or computer they're using, like instant messaging programs, communication tools, Google Hangouts, other browsers, they just can't use them. They won't be able to access any of those other applications. So I'm going to just do a really quick overview of what it looks like as a teacher and instructor to set up a test or quiz so that it requires the use of Lockdown Browser. I'm going to pop over into a Schoology course. This is a demonstration site, so none of this is real content, but I'm a teacher in this course, and my institution has a Lockdown Browser license. So what you're looking for is the link in the menu here that reads Lockdown Browser. When you open that, you're seeing a dashboard first that actually has built-in training materials. So it's really easy to get started. There are some video tutorials, some resources for getting started, like sample language you can give to students about how to install and use the browser, and then other resources out on our website, including training webinars and updates and things like that. But I'll continue into the Lockdown Browser dashboard, and what you're going to see here is a list of all those tests and quizzes that you've already created in your Schoology course. And that's actually a really important point to make a few times. This integrates with your Schoology courses, so you're using the Schoology assessment tools. So it's a familiar environment for both instructors and students. They're still taking their tests in Schoology. Teachers are still setting up the test questions, the settings, the time limits, the point values the same way you normally would. You're just going to come here after you've created the test and apply the Lockdown Browser requirement. So to do that for this week 4 quiz, I select settings and I simply select require Lockdown Browser for this exam. And that's really it. Now I'm not going to go into all the advanced settings right now. The only thing I want to point out is that there is the ability to choose if you want students to use iPads or not. Some schools support them, some don't. So that's right here in this advanced settings. And we'll talk about the different devices that students can use in a minute. The rest of these settings have little links for explanations for how they can be used, and we typically go into those in a full training, so I won't cover them today. So I'll save and close that setting for this quiz, and now you can see in this column, the Lockdown Browser column here, the word required in green. So it's set up and it's ready to go. That's all I have to do as an instructor to make sure my students have to use Lockdown Browser to take that test. Now we're going to show you what it looks like from the student's point of view. And it's going to look pretty familiar because taking a test in Lockdown Browser as a student starts off looking a lot like taking a test in a regular browser. So I just switched my screen again. This time I'm logged into Schoology as a student, not as me, but my little fake student account here. So I'm in my course and I can see all of those tests and quizzes here. You see that week 4 quiz. I'm actually going to refresh this page 1 second and make sure that setting got applied. Here's my week 4 quiz. When I go to open it, there's some instructions here. Because my instructor applied the Lockdown Browser requirement, it tells the student you need Lockdown Browser. And if you don't have Lockdown Browser already installed, and we'll talk about that in a minute, you can install it right here. So Lockdown Browser, and I'll explain this again later, can be installed to Windows and Mac computers, an iPad app, and managed Chromebooks. So students might not be installing it themselves on managed devices, but if they were using a personal computer, they could install the browser themselves. But let's assume it's already been installed, and I'm going to take this quiz. I click Start Attempt. The browser launches. So instead of being in Chrome or Firefox or Safari or whatever I was in before, now my screen is taken over by the browser itself. Notice that it's open full screen, and there's a little message that popped up here that says you must close another program before you can start the test. This is especially helpful if students are using personal computers and they're running things like Skype or Spotify or iTunes. Other applications will be shut down by Lockdown Browser, especially ones that students could use to cheat. Trillian is a communication tool. It's an instant messaging program. So I'm shutting that down. I have to before I can start my quiz. And then you'll notice my screen opens up to my quiz. So here are all the test questions. You know, the content in the test question is the same. I have a time limit here. All of the settings for the test are exactly how my instructor set them up in Schoology. I'm just in this special browser, so I can't get out. So if you look up at the top, you'll notice there's no File Edit Help menu. There's no web address field, bookmarks, search tool. All of that is stripped out of Lockdown Browser. You'll also notice there's no minimize or resize button. In fact, I can't drag this window around or change its shape. I'm stuck in it until I finish the test and submit it for grading. If you look at the bottom of this screen, there's no start button, there's no system tray, there's no dock. All of those little icons for other applications or files are hidden or disabled. And in a virtual environment, you have to trust me on this one. It's hard to see, but I can't use things like keyboard shortcuts, command or function keys, the right-click button on my mouse. That menu's been disabled, task switching keystrokes. All of those things cannot be used by students. So no hitting Control-P in Windows and printing a copy of the test. So when I go ahead and take the test, and I've got a couple little multiple choice questions here. I've got a little fill in the blank kind of question. I will try to answer this correctly. Then when I submit my test, confirmation, and now I get to a confirmation page where I can close Lockdown Browser and go right back to my Schoology course in a regular browser. So that is a very brief overview of how Lockdown Browser works from the student's perspective. To wrap that up really quick, Lockdown Browser adds security for online testing, prevents students from doing all kinds of things digitally while they're taking online tests. It helps to maintain the integrity of the content of the test. I know I said a few times that Lockdown Browser prevents students from doing things like printing and copying and pasting. That means as instructors and teachers are writing their test questions or using, publisher-created questions, those questions are not going to get out into the wild and be shared by students. You're protecting that content. It also helps to increase the completion rate of online tests. Sometimes one of the biggest enemies of taking tests online is the distraction of being online. Students like to switch to other applications, quickly check their social media feeds, do things like that that are distracting. This keeps them focused. So they can't leave the test until they're finished with it. Also helps to really build instructor confidence in online testing. I know institutions face this all the time, both in K-12 and higher ed, where teachers and instructors are really worried about the whole online world and there's so much potential to cheat. Well, this gets rid of the ability for students to do things like Google Answers or communicate with friends in chat rooms while they're taking tests. So it helps to build a confidence that moving from paper-based to online tests and using your learning management system to its fullest, using Schoology, will work for you because you're protecting the content of the test and you're preventing students from cheating. Now, the other application I want to briefly show you today, switching gears a little bit, we talked about preventing students from cheating on tests and quizzes, but the other application that Respondus offers that integrates with Schoology will help students prepare for those tests so they don't feel like they need to cheat because they're not prepared. So StudyMate Campus is another seamless integration with Schoology. It's another tool that can be set up and linked to Schoology courses. It allows students and instructors to create engaging learning content. And with StudyMate Campus, there are no external websites, no registration steps, no apps to download. There are a lot of study tools out there in the world that students use on their own. StudyMate Campus it's its own tool, and it's built right into a Schoology course. It makes it really easy to share the content. If you're creating learning activities and games, to provide it to students, to fellow students, to provide it to each other. And StudyMate Campus, because of that integration, provides a really useful tool for teachers, which is visibility on the students' use of that content. You want to see how much they're engaging with it. So I'm going to briefly show some screenshots right now of what StudyMate Campus looks like. There are actually 3 parts for the student's experience: creating the activities, studying the content, and then sharing them with their fellow students. So this is, again, to do this briefly, this is a quick screenshot of a student logged into a Schoology course and opening the tool in the menu called StudyMate. So once the institution has this license and the integration set up, this is what the student would see. Now I'm going to show you the student's perspective. I'll also show you the instructors. Instructors and students have a very similar experience in StudyMate Campus. It's just that instructors have a few extra tools. So like with Lockdown Browser, StudyMate Campus offers a welcome screen with tutorials. There is a mobile app if students want to use it. You've got some great videos here on how to use the various varying features. So typically training on this kind of application isn't necessary. And when you're in the StudyMate application itself, what you're seeing here is a list of StudyMate projects. This particular student has already created them, right? So if you were starting from scratch, you would see one sample project that comes with StudyMate Campus, so you can get a sense of what it looks like. And what the activities themselves look like, you can take a look at by clicking the study button, which I'm going to do now just to show you the end result first. When you click the study button, the StudyMate Campus app will open a new tab or window. Notice there's a URL up here at the top. It's got a bunch of like gobbledygook here. It's kind of like a YouTube video. Every StudyMate Campus project, which has content in it, has its own link, and that link can be shared. That's one of the ways that you can share content here. But what you're seeing here is a list of all of the activities and the content itself that's in this project. So we have things like flashcards, pretty familiar. In the olden days, we'd use index cards and write things on either side, but with StudyMate Campus, it's digital, and you can even do things like add images. We have crossword puzzle games, matching games, and a lot of other types of activities. Now, to create those activities for both instructors and students is really simple. You simply click the Edit button. And then what you're seeing on the edit section of StudyMate Campus are actually 3 different templates. And those templates correspond to different activities. There's actually 11 or 12 different activities in StudyMate Campus, and creating them is really simple. You actually create an item once, and it creates multiple activities. So in every template, there'll be a little reminder. For example, the definitions template can be used as flashcards, fill in the blank, pick a letter, and more. So you'll see here, this is a list of definition items that have already been created. You have a term and a definition. It can also be questions and answers. So this is great for things like vocabulary lists and so on. And creating a new item is really simple. It tells you where to put the term, where to put the definition, how to add an image, and that's it. And each template is very simple and provides directions built right into it. So the other templates, I should show you that, are facts, which are simple just statements or facts like things from, notes from lectures or readings. And then questions can be multiple choice questions. And again, each one of those templates creates multiple different activities for students to use to study. Now, the other thing you can do with StudyMate Campus, which I'm going back to the main screen, is you can share activities. So students can share with each other the work that they've done. So think of study groups, things like that students might form or be assigned to group projects, and they can create activities and share with each other. So in this menu, there's an item called Share. And what that does is it allows students to either copy the link to the project, like we saw earlier, or send the link by email to like a group. And that's one way students can share with each other. Now, if you're on the receiving end of a link, you can also follow it. So to follow a project, you simply put the link in the field. You can also follow other items like a YouTube video, other types of quiz tools, web pages. You can put those in here too if you want to create sort of a content area for all related topics. And when you follow someone else's project, it shows up in your project list with a little icon, the name of the person that created it, And notice that you can study with it but not edit it, because it actually belongs to somebody else. So that's a really brief overview of the student's experience. Now, instructors, like I said before, have a few other things. They can do everything students can do, but they can create StudyMate projects, they can share StudyMate projects, and they can also track student use. So this screen shows me logged in as an instructor. And you'll notice this message up at the top will eventually show a list of projects available to students in my class. So if I'm an instructor and I'm creating content I want my students to use, I can give it to them by using this menu, selecting Make Available in Course, and then when I do that, the link to the StudyMate project that I created will show up in StudyMate class for every student in my class. This is far easier than sharing a bunch of links or emailing things around. And what this does is when a student uses this link to access the content that they're studying with, instructors get usage. So we see a link in this menu now, instructors only, for student use for this project that I've shared. And I can see how much my students have engaged with this content, which is great visibility into whether or not this is working, helping your students learn the material. Sometimes there's even a correspondence between the amount of activity a student has and their grades on tests. So you know you can encourage the struggling students to use StudyMate more because it will help them. It will help them engage with and learn the material. So again, very brief overview of StudyMate Campus. Like Lockdown Browser, it has a really seamless integration with Schoology courses. It looks just like a tool in Schoology. Those 3 easy-to-use templates make it very simple for both students and instructors to create up to 11 different learning activities. It's a flexible and fun way for students to learn class content. They're probably already using study apps, a lot of them. So why not put it in the course, make it easier for them to access, and instructors can provide better content for them, vetted content, so to speak. Students can create their own materials if they want to, create study groups. If they want a little extra vocabulary list or from extra reading or things like that, they can do their own work if they want to. They don't need their instructor to set it up for them. And there are powerful features that allow students and instructors to both share and follow. And when instructors share those activities or those projects in their classes using that Make Available feature, they can see the data on student use. Additionally, license administrators can see institution-wide statistics. So as a person who manages the license for a school or district, you can see how much all of your instructors and students are using StudyMate Campus. We built in rollout-ready training videos, so it's easy to get started, and we have great technical support if that's ever needed. So that wraps things up. To remind everybody of what I said in the very beginning, both Lockdown Browser and StudyMate Campus are licensed as a bundle for K-12 institutions. It's an annual site-wide license. We offer a free 2-month pilot. You can try both or either applications, and you can find more information on our website at respondus.com. And if you've submitted a question in the chat or have further questions, we'll make sure to get back to you. You can also reach out to us at the email address, or there's a contact form on our website listed on the screen right now. So thanks so much, everyone.
All right. Thanks for that walkthrough, Sari. If you have any questions for Sari, once again, just put them in the chat and we'll make sure that she follows up post-webinar, and we'll be doing that for all of our partners throughout the day. Moving right along, next up, we're going to have the team from CAMI present.
Thanks, Paul. Hi, my name is Hinji. I'm the CEO co-founder of CAMI. This is Aiden here. He runs all of our customer success and trainings, PD sessions for our teachers. And today we're going to show you what CAMI is about, what we do, and also show you a demo of how to use CAMI with Schoology. So we're very excited about that. We're coming all the way from New Zealand in early morning. So what is CAMI? CAMI is a document annotation tool that lets teachers take any document, whether it's a worksheet, a piece of curriculum, and for schools that have gone one-to-one, teachers love us because it allows them to send all these documents without having to retype out everything or lose formatting issues with PDF documents, send it off to all the kids. Kids can complete their work on CAMI and then turn it back into the teacher via Schoology. So it's very powerful. And teachers love us because it works across all the subjects that they use. We've got really advanced annotation tools that work for ELA teachers, for math and science teachers. You'll soon see our stylus and equation tools. We even allow you to use it as a digital interactive whiteboard as well. So it's, as well as special educations for kids with IEP accommodations. Kami can allow you to use features like text-to-speech, speech-to-text, dictionary tools, video and audio annotation. So it's a lot more advanced than some of the other annotation tools that you might be used to. And the best bit is it integrates all seamlessly into Schoology. So with our extension, everything sort of integrates into the Schoology interface. So I'm going to hand it off to Aiden. Aiden will now give a demo of how Schoology works, how our integration works. And so Aiden.
All right, thanks, Henji. So in this demo today, I'm going to be walking through how you can push out an assignment from Schoology using our integration. And I'll also be giving you sort of an overview of some of our tools as they relate to certain subjects. And as Henji mentioned, we'll be going through sort of assistive technology as well in that regard. So I've got two windows here. One window is set up as a teacher. The other one over here is set up as a student account. So we can sort of show you how that looks from both sides. You want to make sure that the Kami Chrome extension is installed on both the teacher and the student's devices. So if we go up here to the Add Materials tab and we go Add Assignment, we have the option to assign from app. That's where you'll find this option here. So I'm just going to set this up as a test assignment, and we'll make this homework today. And if we click this Kami icon, this will bring up your Google Drive file picker here. So we're just choosing the assignment that we want to push out. So I'm going to push out this PDF from my drive. And you'll notice that this option will create a copy for each of the students in the class here. Okay, now, so I'll just refresh on the student side. And if we open this up here, you'll notice that this Open Assignment with Kami button will appear just beneath this assignment here. So you're going to want the students to click on this. This will open up the assignment in a new tab here. I'm going to make this full screen so that we can see that a little bit more clearly. Okay, so there are a number of different tools, as you can see on this toolbar, and a number of them to relate to sort of different subject areas and use cases. So if we were going through and doing these questions as part of, say, an ELA exercise, we might have the students using the markup tools and the comment tools to go through the text and sort of point out points of interest. We can use comment tools in combination with this. So we have a number of different options for that. Obviously, students can create text comments. So if we highlight over some text like this, we can take some notes that relate to that. We can also take voice typing comments as well here. So if you click this microphone button in the corner here, we can use that to transcribe our voice. So if we're typing with the keyboard, we can click this button and we can then transcribe into the space here, which is a really handy assistive technology for a lot of students. Any one of these input windows that you create in Kami, you're able to voice type into as well. So that's a handy one to bear in mind. We have a number of other comment options that allow teachers and students to sort of collaborate together on the worksheets. And we hear that that's a really powerful way to sort of engage with the text and other things like that. We can create video comments. So I know a lot of teachers, what they will do is they'll push out an assignment, and prior to pushing it out, they will attach things like that amazing feedback loop that you just heard just then at the beginning of, say, worksheets. And that will be able to allow them to attach instructional videos onto the worksheet that can sort of help the understanding of the particular exercise. We have a number of tools that also relate to math and science. So we have an equation tool here. We can use that to sort of render mathematical operators, that don't necessarily come out the best in standard text. Say, for example, if we're doing fraction problems, we can have those fractions, automatically render from our keyboard shortcuts into this format here. Using the screen capture comment among these comment options, we can actually record our screen as we're going through these things and talk through each step of the problem as we're demonstrating it to the students. So it adds a lot of flexibility to how you can put that kind of content into the worksheet. If we scroll to the end of any document, we have the ability to add in extra blank pages. So one thing that this is really useful for is teachers will often use this space here, like I have just now. They'll use this space as a kind of digital whiteboard, and you can add on as many blank pages as you need to onto the end of the worksheet. So oftentimes teachers will create extra space where they can then, record a screen capture comment demonstrating a particular concept or a particular, equation type that we're trying to solve here. We also have a built-in dictionary tool as well. So under the select text heading, if you click on any word in the text, it will give you the definition of that word here. So that's really handy for looking up, for reading exercises and things like that, where you don't want the students to be straying away from the text. This gives them a really handy way to sort of expand their vocabulary and, add to that sort of understanding. I mentioned that we have voice typing. There is also a text-to-speech function in Kami. That means that you can sort of read the document aloud, which is good for ELA, but good for also a number of different subject areas, including assistive technology and other accommodations like that. And lastly, we just want to sort of point out that you can also, if you're going through and sort of answering questions within the text, we do have a fairly robust text tool here where we can insert text. As mentioned, we can use voice typing in any of these input boxes. So we can use those if we're going through and sort of answering the questions here. So that's sort of a bit of a high-level overview of some of those tools as they relate to different subjects. When the student is ready to submit their work, they just need to go up to this Turn In button at the top. And if they click Turn In, it will take them back through to Schoology to submit their final work here. So I'll just take a second. So we just click Submit. And now I'm just going to go back over to the teacher side and show you what they see on their end. So if we refresh on this side here, we can see that we have one ungraded assignment submission. And if I click on this, this will bring up the student's work inside of the grading window in Schoology. So we can see the changes that the student has made, and we can then sort of review this for grading and give our final submission here.
I think the other thing we'd also like to quickly add is, as a teacher, you can also pop into documents from the student by going to Google Drive's recent view, because all your students' work are actually automatically uploaded to Google Drive and shared with you automatically. So that's a quick summary of an overview of all of Kami's features, how integration works using our Chrome extension integrated into Google Chrome, and also integrates Kami into Schoology. So thanks, Aidan. Thank you very much for your brief overview of Kami, all its features, and also how the integration works through our Chrome extension into Schoology, and also into Kami as well. So we've just talked about all the great features that we have available for all the subjects like ELA, math and science, special education. Kami works across all the grade levels. And what we've seen in class, teachers tell us that it really saves them on time, not having to import all their documents or retype out all their documents, because we handle every document type. But also it saves them from having to go and print off all their worksheets and hand out all the consumables. And not only that, it just saves schools a ton of money on having to print out all these things on. So if you email us or if you have any questions, feel free to email us at support@camiapp.com. That's support@camiapp.com. And if you mention this webinar, we'll also throw in a 2-month free trial so that you can use all the features that we've shown you today with Cami and Schoology. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, big thanks to Henji and the team from Cami for presenting today all the way from New Zealand. Next up, we have the team from McGrawHill Education.
Good morning. Thanks for having us. So this was just to let you know who we are. My name's Lynn Myers, and I'm a National Digital Equity and Inclusion Strategist with McGraw-Hill. And we also have Caitlin Utley, who is our Business Product Manager for K-12, who will be showing you and explaining some of our integration options today. So let's talk about the why behind our commitment to integration. We do understand the need to facilitate integration to assist in creating an interconnected learning ecosystem. When applications work together, the focus can be on the learning and not the login. McGraw-Hill is committed to architecting content that adheres to IMS global standards of interoperability. We work with ClassLink, Clever, and of course, Schoology. So our adherence to standards, you can see through the IMS Global Learning Consortium that we take pride in our product certifications. We're currently undergoing a review, which is done annually, to make sure that it's completely up to date with what our certifications are. So this is an adherence to standards, and you can see the product certifications if you visit the IMS Global Learning Consortium website. And to give you an example of some of our integrated titles, we have titles that are integrated to varying degrees, but just to give you some examples of McGraw-Hill titles that are integrated, you can see here we have our new Reveal Math, Arrive Math, Illustrative Mathematics, our Redbird Mathematics, as well as our language arts titles like Wonders, StudySync, Redbird, and Inspire Science, as well as Impact Social Studies. All of the content that we're architecting, we're working on integration in some form or fashion to make it easier for the learner to just get to the business of the learning and not worrying about the integration itself.
All right, so we know it's important to many of our schools and districts to be able to keep everything in one place. And if Schoology is your LMS, that one central place is probably Schoology. We hear that all the time from our customers, so that's why we offer several integration options between McGraw-Hill's products and your Schoology LMS. You're probably familiar with most of these that I'm showing on my screen, but I just want to highlight the things we have today and then show you a brand new integration we're working on right now. So the first I have on this list is the most basic. It's single sign-on from Schoology. So with our LTI-based single sign-on, we can make sure both students and teachers can access their McGraw-Hill courses, content, resources, assignments, everything without having to remember yet another password. The second is Thin Common Cartridge, which you're probably familiar with. With this option, we can provide you with a file containing direct links to the resources in your McGraw-Hill courses. Once you import the file into Schoology, you can assign those links to students, and they can complete their assignments. The Thin Common Cartridge is already available for most of our products today. The third is QTI, or Question and Test Interoperability. With this option, we provide an export of all of the assessment content from a product, which you can then import into Schoology. Once the content is in Schoology, you have full control. You can customize it and assign it to students with Schoology's assessment tools, and then all of the grading and student scores live directly in Schoology. QTI is also available for many of our products today. So the fourth is something brand new we're working on. It's most often called LTI Deep Link Integration, or you may have heard something similar referred to as assignment and grade sync. Actually, it's so new for our K-12 space that we don't have a really good friendly name for it yet, but we're really excited about it. So with this new integration, you'll be able to search, filter, preview, and assign McGraw-Hill's resources directly from Schoology without ever having to leave your LMS. Students access the resources from Schoology, complete the assignments, and all of their assignment scores are synced back to the Schoology gradebook. I'm going to show you a quick demo of what it's going to look like. As I mentioned, we're still working on this, so what I'm showing you is actually a mock-up and not a live demo. but it will hopefully give you a good idea of what we're planning and how it can really help you seamlessly use McGraw-Hill's content in the Schoology environment. I'm going to switch over my demo. All right, so here I am inside a course in Schoology, and from my Add Materials menu, I can access the McGraw-Hill K-12 app. So this is the very first step in this integration, and it's pairing your course. This is a one-time step at the beginning of the semester or school year where you pair your McGraw-Hill class with your Schoology course. So I'm going to pair this course with a U.S. history class. The next step is to select resources to assign. So with this integration, you have access to all of the same resources you would if you were on McGraw-Hill's platform, but instead you're still within Schoology. On the right, I have a directory of all of the chapters and lessons within this U.S. history product. And if I expand these folders, I can see all of the resources that are available within each lesson. At the top of the screen and on the left, I have a variety of search and filter options to help me narrow down and find what I'm looking for. One of the really great search tools we will have available is standard search. So that will allow you to search for resources that meet a particular learning standard. And that'll narrow down your options as well. From this window, you can also preview the resources before selecting them, which of course is really important so you know what you're assigning. So here I'm previewing the ebook. Once I know what I want to assign, I can select the resources I want. I'll go ahead and select all, and I'll add them to my queue. So this next screen is where all of the assignment details are handled, such as points and due dates. You can select them individually, or we'll also have bulk features so you can assign points and due dates in bulk. Do a quick example here. Once I have everything the way I want it, I've selected the resources that I want to assign, I've set points and due dates, I can deploy those assignments to Schoology, so that way they'll appear as assignments in Schoology. From this point, students can access these assignments, and then they can complete them in McGraw-Hill's platform. When they finish, student scores automatically sync back to the Schoology gradebook. This new integration will be available really soon for some of our newest products, and we're very excited about it because it provides maximum flexibility for using McGraw-Hill's great content in the platform where you want it.
So for more information about our integration services, there's a URL at the top of the page, and we've given you a screen grab of what the page looks like. If you also go to mheducation.com and search for integration services, this should come up. But you can see where you can click a button to contact a solution architect and find out more about our integration services and what level of integration is right for you, your school district, your teachers, and your learners. So thank you very much for listening to our new integration solutions with Schoology.
Super exciting to hear about those forthcoming integration workflows, Lynn, and thanks to Caitlin for giving us that walkthrough. Next up is the team from our newest certified partner, Edpuzzle.
We know that more than 90% of your students already go to YouTube to learn something new. So if we know our students love YouTube, why don't teachers use more YouTube videos in their lessons? Actually, why do some schools block YouTube? As a former teacher, let me tell you that using YouTube is not that easy. Let me explain why. First, finding good educational videos on YouTube is time consuming. There is so much content that it's very easy to get lost. For instance, I usually end up watching videos of cats, the NBA, or a documentary on how tacos became a popular dish in the US. You start in one place and you go down the rabbit hole and you don't know where it's gonna take you. And second, even if you find the best video lesson available on YouTube, there is no accountability. You don't know if your students are actually watching the video. And even if they do, you don't know if they are learning through the lesson. There is no data to back it up. Hello everyone, my name is Kim. I'm the co-founder of Edpuzzle. I was a math teacher in middle and high school. I got the charming accent from Barcelona where I was born. And by working in Edpuzzle, I have helped more than 1.5 million teachers use videos in their classroom. So I know many teachers want to use YouTube, but they don't know how to. And that's the reason why this presentation is so important. So if you pay attention just for a few minutes, I will share all the secrets and how easy it is to use Edpuzzle so that you can make any video a useful lesson. You will be able to share this with your teachers in your school, in your districts, and they will love you forever because they will be able to finally connect with the YouTube generation. They will be able to connect with their students. So let's not waste more time because I know what you're thinking. Stop talking and show us Edpuzzle. I'm gonna do that. That's the first thing I'm gonna do. Second, once you know about Edpuzzle, I'm gonna show you how to connect it to Schoology. And then finally, I want to share some special promotions that we have until the end of the summer for your school and your district. Let's go to edpuzzle.com and create an account. If you have never been to Edpuzzle, it's super easy to use. We just have to click the sign up button and select the teacher option because we're going to create the teacher account. And here we're going to introduce our information. So I'm going to write my first name, last name, just use an email the school email, for example, and then finally a password. All this information is safe. We take security very seriously, not only for teachers, but also for students. Here we're going to click continue. And then I'm going to just introduce the information of my school. This is a way to connect with other teachers so that we can share the videos we create. I'm going to select as well my department and then join my school. So in Edpuzzle, we have content available for any teacher. You just have to search for it and we will share all the videos created by other teachers in the platform or even from popular channels like YouTube. For example, this one is a video that another teacher has created, and I'm going to check. It has questions already embedded, so that's going to save me a ton of time. And I'm going to... Yeah, I think this is a good video. Let me stop this video and then adjust it a little bit. So I can edit this video, and this means that I can add my personal touch, my magic touch. So I can trim the video, I can record my voice, or I can embed questions. So I'm gonna trim the video and take only skip a part in the beginning that I don't really like. I'm gonna record an audio note for my students so that they hear a familiar voice. So, hey students, pay attention, this is important. Something simple. And then finally, I'm going to embed some questions. So I just click here under the timeline and I'm able to embed, for example, an open-ended question. I'm gonna embed here a multiple choice question just to show you how it looks like. It's gonna be a true or false question. Nothing too complicated, but this is gonna help me a lot to engage the students as they watch the video because they will have to respond to these questions. Once I'm done, I just click finish and I have this amazing video that I created in just a few seconds that I can use to watch in the classroom or at home. And as you can see, the students are watching the video and the question will pop up and they will have to respond to this question before moving forward, and I will get all the beautiful information on this video. So now that we know that with Edpuzzle we can build a useful lesson by embedding questions and comments and track our students' progress, how do we connect it to our Schoology account? Let me show you how easy it is to get started with the Schoology integration that we just built. The first thing we're gonna do is to install Edpuzzle in your Schoology account. You will have to go to the App Store in Schoology, search for Edpuzzle, and click Install App. Now that we have Edpuzzle in your account, we just need to include your credentials. We just need to click the course option, select the external tool provider, and select the Edpuzzle option. In this pop-up, we'll have to include the consumer key and the shared secret, and it's very easy to get them. You just need to go to your Edpuzzle account and access your profile on the top right corner, and here you will have the school tab. At the bottom of it, you will see the LMS integration, where you just need to select the Schoology option to get the information you need. Copy the consumer key and the shared secret and paste it on the pop-up in Schoology. You can connect this just for one account or for the whole school or district. Now that we have Edpuzzle in your Schoology account, we can easily assign video lessons. You just need to go to your Add Materials and select the Edpuzzle option. All the videos you have saved in Edpuzzle will pop up, and you will be able to select one that you want to assign to your students. If you want to make sure the progress you are tracking is connected to your gradebook, you just need to click the gear icon on the right assignment and click Edit to set the gradebook that you want to store all the information. And how does it look from a student point of view? Well, it actually couldn't be easier. Students do not need to create another account. They just click the video and watch it, just like they would click on any YouTube video. The advantage of using Edpuzzle is that the students will have to respond to the questions you embedded along the lesson. That's awesome, right? You know what's better? All the students' progress is automatically connected to your gradebook. So this means that you will have a grade for each video that they complete. If you want more information, you can also click the Edpuzzle tab on the bottom left and check the progress for all the videos you have assigned to this class. You can even click on a specific video and check the student's progress more in detail. I want you to remember 3 things from this integration. 1, it's really easy to assign video lessons. With this integration, there is no excuse to not use more videos with your students. Edpuzzle will help you connect with the YouTube generation. Second, students do not need to create another account. You do not have to worry about an extra password. They will just click and watch the lesson. And 3, all the students' progress will be automatically connected with the gradebook in Schoology. It's a huge time saver for teachers. And if you tell them that this integration is available, they will love you. To celebrate this awesome integration, we have a special promotion. We usually charge $114 per teacher per year, but you probably want all your teachers to use Edpuzzle and to use videos and technology, right? So if you have more than 10 teachers, you can already see that this price goes really high if you want to engage many teachers. For this reason, we have decided to set a flat fee for your school at $1,300 for all the teachers and all the students in your school. So you can bring 10, 20, 40, 50 teachers and you will pay the same price. So if you are as excited as we are about Edpuzzle and you want to join us, please contact us at sf@edpuzzle.com. We're looking forward to chatting with you.
All right, thanks, Keem, for that rousing presentation. We've got 3 presentations remaining. So once again, quick reminder, if you have any questions throughout any of the presenters, please enter them into the GoToMeeting chat, and we'll make sure that we answer them to each of you on an individual basis post-webinar. Moving right along, next up is the team from Nearpod.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Lindsay Petlak, and I'm a Senior Curriculum Specialist for Nearpod. I can't wait to show you how you can bring engagement to every classroom with this amazing platform. Before we dive in, I'd like to share a few facts and figures with you to really help explain what's behind everything we do here at Nearpod. 8.1 million. I want you to think just to yourself, what could that possibly represent? It's pretty staggering because this is actually the number of students who miss 3 or more weeks of school each year. 8.1 million, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, your actively disengaged students. Up next, we have this statistic, 68%. What do you think that might represent? It's actually the percentage of 11th grade students who show up at school and self-identify as disengaged in their learning experience. And yet, we know that over 90% of superintendents that were surveyed by Gallup indicated that student engagement is the measure of public school success. And so really, we're teaching in an engagement crisis. And with Nearpod, I want to show you a different way to reach every student. Because Nearpod is a comprehensive student engagement platform, I'm going to show you a variety of things today. But I want to start at the heart of what we do here at Nearpod. And that's how we change the way students experience learning in the classroom through an interactive platform. We really aim to engage every single learner. And I feel that the best way for you to understand this is to experience it, right? I'm so excited to show you what this looks like, and we're going to dive right in. What we're about to experience is a science lesson on kinetic and potential energy. I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between student view and the teacher view to be able to show you what it's like to be a student participating in a Nearpod lesson, and also to be able to show you the real-time feedback formative assessment data that the teacher receives while conducting a lesson in Nearpod. As with all of our lessons, this particular lesson is standards aligned. It's also best practices based. And you can see here, since this is a science lesson, it's based on the 5E model. Let's kick things off with an engaging experience for our students. What you see here on the screen right now is an example of one of our engagement tools within Nearpod. This is our Collaborate board. It allows students to submit thoughts, questions, answers, both with text and using our image button you can see here in the bottom right-hand corner. We have Google Image Safe Search built directly into this tool. What's nice is the teacher can make student names anonymous and hidden so that everybody feels safe and open to contribute to this collaborative board. What you're going to see here on the screen is actually one of our newest engagement features, matching pairs. I'm able to click to match a vocabulary term with the corresponding photo, and it's going to highlight green if it's correct, or highlight red if I need to try again. Let me see. What's really great about this is whenever I jump over to my teacher view, I can see not only the accuracy of each student participating, but I can see the fluency of that skill by how many tries it took that student to make those correct matching pairs. One of our favorite features within Nearpod is the ability to pull from our library of over 350,000 virtual reality field trips. This particular one is illustrating kinetic and potential energy within the setting of a skate park to help meet students where their interests and their scaffolding and background knowledge lie. Now that we've engaged, we want our students to explore these concepts a bit more. We're going to do this today with a simulation from PhET. Students are able to have the power of this simulation right within their hands, instead of only one or two students being able to come up to an interactive whiteboard and participate. They're able to play around with the different types of slopes at the bottom, and also with the different visual representations, showing them these concepts and illustrating it in real time right within their fingertips. Moving along, we want to make sure that our students can further explain the concepts that they are exploring. And so what you can see here on our screen right now is an example of our Draw It feature. Now, this is an extremely open-ended, flexible, and highly effective feature that can be used in so many different ways to elicit student responses and measure their knowledge of a topic. You can draw, highlight, add a text box if you wish for your students to annotate further. And again, you can pull from Google Image Safe Search, browse from your files, or even activate a front or rear-facing camera that you might have on your device. And what's great is the teacher receives in real time all of those student submissions from the Draw Up features. In fact, he or she can even share out and sync certain student submissions to every device in the classroom. These and all student feedback submissions throughout a Nearpod lesson are not only received in real time, but they're also stored on the back end of Nearpod so that the instructor can refer to them at a later date in order to make the best data-informed instructional decisions. Now, when it comes time for us to extend our learning, we might want to pull in a video. Like you can see here on the screen, we're going to take students on a roller coaster ride. This really helps bring in another real-world example of kinetic and potential energy. And to further extend their learning and measure how much they really understand, students then have the opportunity to participate in an open-ended response. You can see here that I've typed in a student answer and I'm going to submit this. We also have the ability for students to use embedded reference media to help support their learning and the reporting out on what they know. In this instance, we linked out to Google Translate. That embedded reference material have video, image, and many other options to help support students in their learning. Once I submit my response, the teacher receives that in real time and again can share it out with other students in the class to promote some amazing discourse around the topic at hand. Now, we've had a lot of fun today exploring and engaging as students within this lesson, but we know that summative assessment data is equally important. So Nearpod has the ability to embed quiz features within each lesson. You can see here, I've selected some answers from within this quiz, and I'm going to submit those answers. Teachers are able to get that real-time data, and you can see, I'm able to see question by question exactly what each student answered and if they got those answers correct or incorrect. Now, these engagement tools that you experienced in this lesson were just a tiny snippet of the many that we have available and that you can see here on the screen right now. We want teachers to be able to have 100% participation in their class, so we allow them to upload existing resources and Nearpodize their own lessons with the amazing features you've just experienced. We always have that dynamic media available at their fingertips, and teachers love the ability to get that formative feedback and assessment in real time. Let's take a look at this. Did you know that on average, teachers work 400 hours of overtime each year? At Nearpod, we really aim to honor the teacher's expertise and all of that amazing impact that they're able to drive whenever they're tapping into that and creating their own lessons. However, we also know time is their most precious resource and really what they have the least amount of. So we've partnered with these and more amazing publishing partners in order to create a lesson library of over 7,500 lessons that teachers can pull from and have at their fingertips. They can download those lessons and use them in the moment. They can always add Nearpod features to their existing content, and even the lessons they download instantly have the ability to be customized. In addition to our lesson library of over 7,500 lessons, you can see here in this outer ring that we've really tackled larger issues and initiatives within the educational space. What you're going to see here on the screen right now is a look at national initiatives, goals, and legislation in the areas of digital citizenship, college and career, social emotional learning, support for English learners, historical perspectives, and even professional development for educators. We've created supplemental curriculum that can be available at your fingertips to help you in the classroom support these initiatives and meet the goals that are set for you. Perhaps most importantly, we want to make sure that all of these amazing features and content that we have to offer can streamline and integrate seamlessly with your learning management systems. You can see here Schoology is one of our amazing partners, and I'm going to give you a peek at just how easy and effective it is to combine the power of Nearpod with the power of Schoology. To kick that off, I'm going to show you a brief video of what this might look like from a teacher and student perspective, and then I'm going to walk you through very quickly an integration step by step. You'll notice that you're seeing many of the same activities and functionality that we just experienced together, except it's all being run from Schoology. Now I want us to take a little bit of a deeper dive with a very quick overview of some integration tips, tricks, and techniques. I want to show you how Nearpod and Schoology can seamlessly integrate to give you the best possible experience. Let's kick things off by setting up and adding the Nearpod app to Schoology. First, you're going to select App Center from the home page. Then you'll search for Nearpod within that App Center. Select Install LTI app. Add Nearpod on the organizational level or just for your personal account. Next, you're going to select Configure, and then enter the key and secret you generated from the Nearpod site and save settings. Return to Install or Remove to finalize the Nearpod Schoology settings. Within organizational settings, enable Nearpod on the user, course, and/or group level. Go to Courses, select External Tool Providers to make sure that Nearpod is indeed installed. Nearpod will appear under the External Tool Providers list. Now let's take a look at lesson creation using Nearpod in left navigation within Schoology. Select the Nearpod icon on the left-hand navigation. From here, you can access the entire Nearpod site within Schoology. If you launch a lesson from the left-hand navigation, you will need to use a code. Students can also select the Nearpod icon on the left-hand navigation. They will always receive this screen, prompting them to join a lesson with that code. Now let's take a look at lesson creation, adding a Nearpod to course materials within Schoology. First, select which course you would like to add a Nearpod lesson to. Under Add Materials, select Nearpod on the right-hand side. Search through your Nearpod library to find a lesson. Decide whether you want to teach as a live lesson that's teacher-paced or student-paced lesson. Then the selected lesson will then appear at the bottom of the course materials. Here you see the teacher view. The teacher clicks on the link and can teach from the dashboard within Schoology. From the student view, the student clicks on the link and enters their name. No code is needed. Up next, we can look at lesson creation, adding Nearpod as an external tool link. For this, under Courses, select Materials. Select Add File, Link, External Tool under the Add Materials dropdown. Then select External Tool. Under Tool Provider, select Nearpod. Add a title, the URL, key, and code will be auto-filled. Then select Submit. The title will appear under Materials. Select the title to add a Nearpod from your library. Search through your Nearpod library to find a lesson. Hover over a lesson and select Live Lesson or Student Paste. You will see this error message. Step 1, copy the link in the blue box. Steps 2 and 3, return to the materials page and select Edit under the Gear dropdown. Steps 4 and 5, paste the copied link into the URL and select Save Changes. Select the link to begin the Nearpod. Teach Nearpod within Schoology. So that gave you just a really overview of how you can seamlessly integrate Nearpod within Schoology to help run your lessons in a way that's most effective for your class. What we also want to do is give you a special gift for joining us here today. You have won a Nearpod Gold Edition. This entitles you to a free 3-month gold license upgrade and $50 merchandising credit. You want to be sure to use this code that you see here on the screen, NP-Schoology. You can activate this by going to nearpod.com/redeem to redeem your gold edition now, or you can actually just scan the QR code below and you'll be prompted to enter NP ways that you access this redeemable prize. I want to say thank you so much for joining us here today. I also want to let you know that within the Nearpod blog, we have so many other Schoology resources for you, so please check that out. And I hope you have fun integrating Nearpod within Schoology. Thank you so much.
Thanks to Lindsay from Nearpod for that presentation. We'll be sure to share any discount codes or special offers with all attendees from all partners via email post-webinar. I think a couple of our partners have those offered today. Next up, we have another one of our newest certified partners, SchoolBuzz.
All right, thank you, Paul, and good morning, everyone. My name is Jennifer Larson, and I am a co-founder and the CEO of Hive Digital Minds. We are the creators of SchoolBuzz, a new mobile app for parents, which allows them to receive school updates and access information all in one place. So a little bit about our story. SchoolBuzz is a relatively new solution. However, our founding team has been active in the K-12 industry for over 15 years. We are founders of 2 charter schools in Douglas County, Colorado, which is where I'm at today. That initiative began back in 2004, and both of those schools are still open and thriving today. We also have extensive experience working with school leaders on their communication strategies, and we've worked on numerous programs in the urban, suburban, and rural communities of Colorado. Today, our team has backgrounds in education as former teachers, board members, business managers, and volunteers. And we are all parents, and we are committed to giving every parent the opportunity to be actively involved in their child's education. So my background before I ventured into education was in marketing communications, and I worked at a couple software companies in California. The goal of a good communication plan is to generate buzz, hence the name of our product, both within an organization and also to build awareness in the community. How you communicate with your families directly impacts the culture of your school, and it is absolutely something we need to be intentional about because school culture directly impacts student engagement and motivation, but it starts with good communication. So a quick personal story. I expect many of you are also parents on this webinar today, so you might be able to relate to this image. I sure can. I have 4 kids, a senior who graduates in just 1 week, a sophomore, 6th and 4th grader. So you can imagine the number of messages I get from school. Teachers, coaches, art directors, club leaders. And it's not just the volume of information I receive, but trying to find it all. From websites to emails, newsletters, messaging apps, it's simply overwhelming. And it got to a point that we actually started missing things. Last minute learning about an orchestra performance or a special costume that was needed because we had missed an email. And the list goes on, unfortunately. So I happened to be in grad school a couple years ago. I was getting my MBA at the Daniels College of Business at the University of Denver, and I decided to make this the focus of my feasibility study. I wanted to know if there were other parents out there with a similar frustration, and what were they doing about it? And we learned a lot. Obviously, I wasn't alone with my frustrations. So we took all the insights we got from parents, looked at the existing products in the market, and then spent the next 3 years building a solution for schools. a solution which would allow them to publish information the way parents wanted to receive it. Our solution is called School Buzz. Quite simply, it consolidates many of the tools schools use to communicate with families. And for parents, it allows them to receive updates and access information from any device. Because let's admit it, as parents, we spend a majority of our time on our mobile devices. We really don't want to dig through a giant website to find the information we're looking for. So here's how it works. The School Buzz app can be downloaded from the App Store. A web version is also available for any parents who prefer to access the information from their computer. School information is aggregated into 3 main content areas: announcements, typically updates and reminders; assignments, homework and projects for classes; and resources, quick links typically used to list frequently accessed websites or files. What our parents love about the app? It's personalized to each individual. Parents can choose the information they want to receive by opting in and out of the various classes or groups their child is involved in. It's easy to use. We have spent a lot of time talking with parents about how they want to receive information and also what apps they use on a regular basis. We created School Buzz based on these insights and best practices. And also accessibility. Out of the gate, we knew we needed a mobile solution, yet we also heard from parents they wanted the option to get information from their computer. Others shared frustration around language preferences, so that's another new feature we'll be unveiling this summer. This year, we joined Schoology's Certified Partner Program, and we've been diligently working on an integration that connects the Schoology LMS with the School Buzz app. This will basically allow teachers and other school staff to continue to use Schoology as you do today. Our goal is to keep things simple for teachers. We don't want to add yet another communication tool to your list. In fact, we really hope that we can help you simplify what you are currently using. And for parents, we'll take these updates and assignments from the Schoology LMS and automatically push them into the School Buzz app. So here's how it works. A couple screenshots to share, which should look familiar because these are the same ones I just shared a few moments ago. And this is the same experience we want to bring to your parents. Our integration is currently in development, and phase 1 will be released this summer with a focus on aggregating whole group communications for classes and groups. And so what do I mean by that? From your perspective, updates posted in Schoology will be automatically pushed to parents in their announcement feed. Assignments posted in Schoology will be automatically pushed to parents in their assignment feed. And our new feature, voila, events posted in Schoology will be automatically aggregated into a parent's master School Buzz calendar. For parents, they will be able to personalize their experience, receiving information relevant to their child. They also receive push notifications when new content is posted. So why do we think School Buzz is a great solution for your school? It's easy to use and it saves time. I'm sure many of you are using multiple tools to make sure parents get the information they need. We can help simplify that process. It also ensures consistency across your whole school. Building off of Schoology's implementation, it puts everyone on the same page with how and what they communicate to parents. I also want to mention that we have a dedicated customer success team to ensure successful adoption of School Buzz at your school. There are a variety of services we can provide. Our team has done needs assessments for schools if you want help getting your arms around your school's communication plan. We've also reviewed school newsletters and social media pages to help target information to the right audience. The bottom line, we aren't just going to give you an app and walk away. We are committed to you, and we really enjoy partnering with your community to ensure success. So that's all I have for you today. If you'd like to learn more, you can visit our website. We have created a special landing page just for Schoology, or feel free to give us a call or email. Thanks again for your time today, and we really look forward to working with you.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. We are now on to our final presentation of the day. Last, but certainly not least, we've got the team from Edmentum. Bring us home, Jeremy.
Thanks for that introduction, Paul. My name is Jeremy Spivey. I'm Vice President of Customer Success for Edmentum, and today I'll be presenting a little bit about our LTI integration with Schoology and some of the benefits and features that that integration can provide school districts. I'd like to start off to begin with to talk about who Edmentum is and why we might be viable or valuable to a district's implementation. We're really committed focusing on the educator and ensuring that educators have the easiest possible path to helping deliver instruction to students. We do that in 3 ways. First, digital curriculum that we make sure is very rigorously and closely aligned to state standards, and that's used in a variety of environments, including blended and virtual learning. Secondly, we have very strong assessments supported by validity studies and reliability studies, and that's used everywhere from classroom practice, formative assessments, interim assessments, and benchmarking for students throughout the year as well. And then third, one of our core areas is educational consulting. You can have great curriculum, great assessments, but without a strong consulting and services organization, it makes implementing a good digital curriculum challenging. So we are focused on delivering high quality education consulting to our districts to ensure that we have the best possible and strongest implementations. Also want to take a moment to focus on our dedication to data integrity. As you can see on the screen here, Edmentum partners with several organizations to ensure that we provide the highest quality data integrity possible to our partner districts. It's important in your digital ecosystem as a school district that you understand that you have partners that are committed to safe data, to high quality standards that protect your students' data, and that you're working with partners that can that treat your data much in the same way that your educators and your parents are expected to do as well. So Edmentum partners closely with Project Unicorn. We're signatories on the Student Privacy Pledge. We are members of COSN. We partner closely with the EdFi Alliance, and we are also closely partnered with IMS Global, which, as many of you will know, supports and writes the LTI integration standards that we're going to speak a little bit about today. So let's just talk briefly about LTI and our capabilities with our Edmentum courseware program. And when I talk about courseware, that's that foundation of the digital curriculum aspect of Edmentum that I mentioned at the very beginning there. And our LTI integration helps provide districts with the flexibility that you need to integrate Edmentum solutions within a learning management system like Schoology that you already have in place. And again, as we think about the digital ecosystem within a district, Edmentum does not want to be yet another vendor or another system that you have to implement and have your educators learn. We like to envelop our courseware into the systems that you already have in place and ensure that the integrations provide you with the data interoperability that you expect. And as you can see here through our bullets on the screen, we are fully compliant with the LTI 1.1 and 1.2 certified standards through IMS Global. Our LTI integration allows you to browse, create, run, and manage our own digital curriculum solutions at an individual module level throughout the Schoology LMS. And I want to demonstrate that here in a minute, what that looks and feels like for both the educator and the student within Schoology and with the Edmentum courseware product as well. What's nice about LTI and what I've really found that our customers enjoy the most about it is it does provide that seamless, streamlined experience for students. If your students and educators are already using Schoology and have trained on that and learned it and it's become a habit to be used, you don't want to take your students outside into a different LMS to have them learn a new system. Keep them in the existing framework. And lastly, the progress the students achieve in the courseware platform come back in through the gradebook into Schoology, and all that progress and grades are reflected in the gradebook, and it's all native inside Schoology, so you have one unified data source for all of your digital curriculum that you're consuming. Okay, now I'm going to transition into a side-by-side of Schoology and Edmentum courseware on my screen here. And on the left-hand side of the screen, I've got a Schoology educator, and you can see on my course dashboard, I have already created an Algebra 1 course, and I've got the same assignment created on the Schoology student side and the Edmentum courseware side as well. So let's take a quick browse on the Schoology educator side. And it's a very simple course that I have here. I haven't created a lot of complexity, but in the materials, you can see I've already added a Unit 1, quantities and expressions. And if I go down to the module graphs of linear relationships, I can see here's the educator. I've got several different assignment options that my students are actually going to see. And students within the courseware system are presented with 3 activities per module: a tutorial, a practice or some type of activity, and then a mastery test. In this case, this is just what is within this assignment for these particular students in this course, but what I want to do is really show what that looks like on the student side as well in courseware. So I've got the same module open here, Graphs of Linear Relationships, and you can see I have the tutorial, practice, and mastery test. Now, inside the Edmentum courseware LMS itself, which is fully featured, I can launch the activity, and it will bring up the activity. Now, in this case, I've already been part of the way through the activity, so I'm starting off at slide 8 of 31. And as a student, I would work through this, read the material, answer any questions that might come up. I've got audio. I've got tools here along the side where I can read aloud. There's a dictionary. I can translate this if I'm not familiar with the with the language that it's being in. I have a calculator if it's a difficult math question, and I've also got some other tools here that I can select as I go through the courseware. I can navigate through the content and continue to take this tutorial. And the purpose of the tutorial really is to get me ready for that practice activity, which is almost like a practice test. And then the mastery test itself will allow me as a student to demonstrate the mastery of the material that I learned during their tutorial. And so as a student, I am presented this in the courseware LMS. But if I am a Schoology student, I can see as my Schoology student user here, I've got the same course, my Math Algebra 1. I've got the Unit 1 Quantities and Expressions, and I can also access Graph of Linear Relationships here. And then I'm presented with the three activities, and I can click on the tutorial. And you can see it brings me to the same type of content that I had as the student. Now, if I skip ahead to slide 8, it might not let me get ahead. There we go. If I skip ahead to slide 8, it's the exact same content. And what I love about this is that it has the exact same toolbars, my resources, my dictionary, the reading tools, the translation tools, calculator, so on and so forth down the side here. So the interface is exactly the same if I switch between the tabs. Exact same interface, the same high quality content and tools that you would get by using courseware natively, but you can use this with inside the Schoology application. And so if I save and exit, I'm actually going to close out of this. My progress would then be updated. And then as an educator, I can go back over here to my grades, and I can see my students' grades that are beginning to flow into the grade book here. So as this student, I've made a little bit of progress in the Schoology system already, taking some of these activities, and you can see that I've begun to populate some grades into the system, and I've got a course grade here of 80%. And as I continue working through this grading period, that will continue to update as I complete more activities. So that's the LMS differences or really similarities between the student view and Schoology, and it's really a great way to consume Edmentum courseware, but continue to have students use the Schoology LMS where they're very comfortable. So to conclude here today, I'd like to talk a little bit about the technical support you would receive when partnering with Edmentum for an LTI integration with Schoology. We have a team of technical consultants and analysts that are going to support you throughout the entire life cycle of your implementation. And that includes everything from just general consultation around how LTI may be best for you, what features you may get the most out of when leveraging LTI, how your instructors may use it, how your administrators may consume the data. But most importantly, they will help guide you through the project as you consider this implementation. They'll also provide you with some testing environments so you don't, if you're an existing Edmentum customer and want to make the transition into Schoology, you can test outside of your native production environment, not really have to worry about doing any harm to your current system. They'll provide you with all the documentation and transition documentation and training that you might need to make the switch over. Make sure that you have authenticated accounts, most importantly, the LTI secret and keys that are most needed to get an LTI connection set up with an LMS, and then obviously provide you ongoing support throughout the life of your account. And that is not only as you begin the implementation, but through your entire relationship with Edmentum. So that team is dedicated here in the US. They can come on site for you as needed to ensure that you have a healthy and productive integration, and would be very much excited to partner with you to get an LTI integration going. That wraps up my presentation today. Paul is going to share my contact information and ensure that you've got ways to reach out to our technical team should you have more questions or would like more information about integrating Edmentum courseware with Schoology. Thank you for your time today.
Okay, big thank you to Jeremy from Edmentum and to all of our partner presenters today. Most importantly, thank you to all of Schoology's users who attended. Hopefully this was an informative presentation and you've come out of it with a strong grasp of Schoology's partner ecosystem strategy. We'll follow up with all attendees via email. We'll do things like answering any of the questions you might have put in the chat. We'll provide some contact and further information on each of our partners, and we'll also provide a recording of today's webinar. So once again, thank you for everybody's time. Take care.